Listen up or run for cover. Dropping knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. The real Brad Lea is dropping.
What it is, Brad Lea back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, as always, I got a real treat, but an extra special treat today with Jeff Timmons. What's happening?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
If you guys don't know who this dude is, if you grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s, or you just appreciate music, then you know this dude. He's a founding member of one of the most iconic boy bands of all time. That's a fact. 98
Wow.
Degrees.
I mean, iconic. That's quite a term. I definitely embrace it. I'll take it every day of the week.
I'm of the age that I remember those days, dude. So I got some questions for you. But we're talking about millions of records sold, no chart-topping hits, performances in front of screaming fans worldwide. But Jeff Timmons isn't just some guy who got lucky and rode the wave of a boy band era. He's an entrepreneur, a creator, and a guy who's continually evolving in the entertainment world. So from forming 98 Degrees to launching new ventures and still hitting the stage like a beast, he's got a story that's worth listening to. But we're not just here to talk about nostalgia, folks. We're here to find out what it really takes to stay relevant in an industry that chews people up and spits them out. We're talking reinvention, business moves, and straight up life lessons that most people don't even see coming. So sit back, tune it up, get ready, because today Jeff Timmons is about to drop some bombs. Let's go. See, there's my new intro.
That's quite an introduction, man. I love it. This is amazing.
So 98 Degrees. Yeah, back in the day, dude, it was 98 Degrees or NSYNC, one of the two.
Backstreet's in there too.
Oh yeah, Backstreet.
You can't forget about those guys.
I forgot. Backstreet were they first?
Well, look, Backstreet and 98 Degrees sort of emerged at the same time. Yeah, Backstreet came out first. They came out right before we formed originally. And they, look, it was still the grunge era. It's still heavy R&B, still hip hop, still grunge. So they weren't ready. The music industry, radio, wasn't ready to transition into this pop, sort of bubblegum pop genre. So what they did was they went to Europe, lived. That stuff never dies overseas in Europe, right? So they went there, developed, stayed there for a long time, then came back.
Who?
Backstreet.
Okay.
But NSYNC, the same. They were under the same camp, Lou Pearlman, Johnny Wright, that whole thing, that transcontinental BMG thing. And, we put ourselves together and wanted to be like Boyz II Men, who were popular at that time, a vocal group. And we didn't.
But they wouldn't be considered a boy band.
Well, they're considered a boy band now, but that term wasn't even anything that existed in the U.S. when we came out. We were an R&B group.
Well, you guys made it.
We became associated with it, but we certainly originally didn't like it because it was a sort of the connotation that came along with the boy band is you put some guy, some impresario put you together, some Svengali, find you, you audition, you dance, you don't really sing that well. That was the impression, but we were a vocal group. Boyz II Men can sing their asses off. So we wanted to be like Boyz II Men. We were inspired by them. And so we wanted to be on Motown Records because that's a legendary R&B.
When you say
label.
we, name all the players.
So I started the group with some other guys in Ohio at a party to impress girls. And, there was no any of this. It didn't exist. I mean, this is like a television station you have here. This is incredible, probably better. But, you had to go where the scene was. So it was LA or New York. We drove across country to LA to get discovered. We sang a cappella everywhere.
This is Ohio.
It was, from Ohio.
So how old were you?
20. I was 20 years old.
So what were you doing?
I was going to school. Did well in high school. College, I couldn't really find it. I went to college to play football. I come from a football town. I'm obviously too small to play. So I was playing Division III, wasn't getting a lot of playing time. I'd bounce from school to school to try to play. Finally was like, look, I'm not going to play pro football. It's just not happening. And I went to Kent State and enrolled there for about a quarter and started this group and quit. And we went to LA to try to pursue the dream, you know.
When you first started the group, would you just play around at small venues in Ohio?
Everything. What we did was we started doing karaoke. So we would practice.
What songs were you seeking though?
Well, we would sing a cappella. So at that time, there was a group called All for One, which is a vocal group. Now we're great friends with them, done many shows with them. They had a song called So Much in Love. So it was an a cappella throwback to a 60s song.
Yeah.
So we sang that. We sang Boys to Men songs. We sang doo-wop songs. We wouldn't pick a song on karaoke. We'd get up on stage and sing a cappella. But we were so nervous originally, we turned our backs to the audience. We couldn't even look at them. So, you know, that's how we started out. It's kind of funny going back and thinking about that.
So you were like a clean-cut athlete going to college and then just had some buddies that could sing?
Well, we were singing at a party. We were actually at a party and some girls wouldn't pay attention to us. They were talking about these guys they had heard sing. So I was like, guys, anybody here can sing? And these were guys I went to high school with, which were ironically I caught up with in college.
But none of you knew each other could sing?
No.
Okay.
I literally took them all. I was in some groups in high school and some harmony based groups. I took them in the bathroom. I said, all right, you sing this, you sing this, you sing this. We all practiced for like 10 minutes, went out and sang for the girls. They started talking to us. And I called my mom that night and I'm like, I'm going to start a singing group like Boys to Men. That's it. I quit. And she was like, you've been drinking, which we had. And she's like, sure. But nonetheless, I felt compelled. I mean, it sounds kind of weird, but something overcame me that night. And it wasn't just because the girls were paying attention. It just sounded good. And I was like, I think we can do this. I think
What was the name then?
It was called Just Us. You know, kind of a generic name.
Now, who were the band members then?
Three of my friends from high school. It was this guy, Dave Feller, Matt Fector, and Pat McVean.
Did they get pissed when they didn't make it?
Well, they quit. So we went to LA together.
Ooh.
And we were singing everywhere. I mean, we were singing on street corners. We were singing for food. We were singing we lived in Northern California first. We sang Fisherman's Wharf. We sang in LA to get into clubs. We were getting invited to parties because at that time, like I said, all grunge. So they saw these four guys from Ohio.
All clean cut?
Singing a cappella. And we'd get invited places. And eventually James Brown looked at us and said, hey, you know, we got introduced to him and he wanted to sign us. His label was Scotty Brothers. We were kind of entertaining an offer there. The guys were getting nervous because it was getting real fast. And I know, you know, this mindset, being as successful as you are, sometimes people are afraid of success. They don't expect it. But I could see it right there in front of my face, the reactions people were giving us in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I'm from a small town. And then they went back to Ohio for Thanksgiving, quit, and never came back. So I said I was going to keep doing it.
And then had to find the rest?
Had to find the rest. So I got a job doing security. James Brown, security guy, gave me a job working security at all these clubs. I actually got a contract. He had a contract at Phil Collins's estate, and it was being built. He wasn't there. It was being built. And I had this job working security, basically sitting in a security house, walking the perimeter every hour on the hour. It was a 12-hour shift. 8 in the morning and 8 at night. And it gave me a lot of time to think about how I was going to do this. And my brother gave me a Tony Robbins book, Personal Power and Awaken the Giant Within, and Rewrite Your Goals. So I had plenty of time to write my lofty goals every night.
And at this time you had no money.
Nothing, zero. I mean, in fact, sometimes the guy that owned the security company would go to Vegas and gamble the payroll. So either if he wins, you get paid. And if he doesn't, you don't. And so there were times when it was really lean there in the beginning. And then ultimately, you know, I auditioned, I put ads in the paper. You didn't have social media or Facebook or any of this stuff to audition people. So I scraped up money, put ads, and in between my 12-hour shifts would interview people in LA, and I just couldn't find anybody. And ultimately I found a guy that knew Nick from Ohio and played me a tape. I heard his voice. I was like, I got to have that guy. Get him on the phone. I need to talk to him.
Nick Lachey.
Nick Lachey. That's right.
And wasn't his brother in there too?
Yeah. So eventually Nick came out. I convinced him that we had all these leads, and he came out and he brought his brother out. And the guy that introduced me to Nick was actually in the group for a while. And he went on, you know, he kind of wanted to be an actor and thought that this wasn't going to pan out. So he quit. And, you know, so that was Justin, myself, Nick, and Drew. And we were like, all right, what do we do next? Let's go to a Boys to Men concert and get discovered. Like they did.
What is that? How you did? You went to a concert?
That's what we did. We scraped up our money.
Yeah, but that doesn't work.
Well, that's what they told us. When we got there, we scraped up.
Like, why would I go to another concert to get discovered?
Well, that's how they got discovered.
Boys II Men got discovered by going to whose?
I think it was Belle Biv DeVoe. Yeah, so they went to a Belle Biv DeVoe concert and got discovered.
How?
They sang backstage, same way. Same
I'll be
exact
damned.
thing. So,
how'd you get backstage though?
Well, we sang our way backstage. So we got there. We almost didn't go because Nick and I were up drinking all night the night before.
Okay, so it was you, Nick.
And it was this guy, John, who introduced me to Nick.
John.
And Justin.
Justin who?
Jeffrey. He's currently in the group.
Justin Jeffrey. Well, he's one of the original.
That's right.
Well, they think he is.
Yeah.
Because the original ones, no one knows.
Well, no. He's currently in the group. So these are all the guys in the group. The current group, except for Drew. He wasn't in it yet.
Gotcha.
He was the guy that introduced me to Nick. So we got up the next day. Nick and I were hungover. We were like, we're not going to go. And then we decided to go. We got to the concert. We kept singing, near the backstage area. And the security guy goes, look, guys, they try this. People try this every day. You're never getting backstage. And finally, someone from the local radio station in LA saw us and said, hey, we have a backstage barbecue. Do you guys want to come backstage and sing? We're like, yes. So we went backstage, sang live.